Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Atmosphere for Healing, a special program being brought to you through the healing ministration of our man of God, the highly esteemed Prophet Uebert Angel. So I want to invite you wherever you are, any part of the globe watching this program, invite someone, make sure that they are watching along with you. Just inform them or even share this program, because with me in the studio at this time, I have a family that is having a son, and this son is with us also in the studio, and he had a medical condition called commonly clubfoot, but it's talipes. And it's a very rare medical condition because from the National Health Service here in the UK, they say 1 out of 1,000 children can really have this. So it's very rare, but at the same time, very, very difficult medical condition. And they are here to share their testimony with us. So I would definitely encourage you to make sure that you are inviting someone to share this program so that they will understand what God is doing in this last dispensation through our man of God, the highly esteemed Prophet Uebert Angel. So before going further, we just even want to thank him for giving us this time to be able to share everything that God is doing in terms of the miracles, signs, and wonder that follows him wherever he goes, as he carries the atmospheres for healing, for he himself is an environment, and wherever he is, we know there's good news. So make sure that you invite someone, and immediately after the break, we will go directly into the testimony.
God's Medicine, authored by Prophet Uebert Angel. In this book, learn how to receive divine healing and, equally important, how to keep it. Immerse yourself in this teaching by Prophet Angel, a man who has a very potent healing ministration that is seeing multitudes receive their healing from all manner of ailments around the world. Order your copy from www.ubertangel.org or from Amazon Kindle.
Welcome, welcome, welcome back again. This is the Atmosphere for Healing, the special program that has been brought to you through the healing ministration of our man of God, the highly esteemed Prophet Uebert Angel. So before the break, I introduced to you what the program is about today. And I have with me here in the studio a family whose son have been going through a very, very difficult medical condition called commonly clubfoot or talipes. And this condition affected the son even before childbirth. And they really, really was living with it. It was difficult. It was like really, really despair in the home, no hope. And they were going medical reports, and what the consultants or doctors were telling them was something different, something that would make you to lose hope. But here we are in the studio because they have a testimony to share, simply because they came into the atmosphere of healing where the man of God was ministering. So I want you to listen carefully and really grab it for yourself, because this miracle is a miracle that happened because the child that had the sickness before or the medical condition, from the NHS and other medical reports, they say in the UK, 1 out of 1,000 child born. So it's very rare. But for the child to be born with it, as a family, as a father, as a mother, is something that is heartbreaking. So I want you to carefully listen as they make us to understand what their life was before they met the man of God, and afterwards what happened. All these things, we will make sure we get into the bottom of it. The detail of that will be brought to you, and the family is here to really give you the details of all that have been happening in the family. So I want to welcome them to this program. So I want them to introduce themselves to us so that we know who they are.
First, we would like to honor our man and woman of God, Prophet Uebert Angel and Prophet SBB Angel.
Amen.
I'm Charlie, this is my wife Marilyn, and this is our little miracle baby Emmanuel.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Welcome, welcome to this program.
Thank you.
The Atmosphere for Healing is a program really that details a lot of things that the man of God, the highly esteemed Prophet Uebert Angel, is doing through the power of God. And I mean, what we are bringing here is just, a sampling because there are countless miracles, and we cannot bring everybody in the studio. So, Charlie, I want us to tell, even Marilyn, you can come in, what it was like before the birth of Emmanuel. How this idea that he has a special medical condition, how did you really get to know through the diagnosis of the medical doctors?
We knew from 20 weeks that he had the condition. So we were expecting it. But of course, we were praying. When he came out with it, we still had hope. We didn't lose hope, obviously. And it was hard to deal with when you see your son, the condition that he was in and how severe it was. Obviously, they do it on a scale of 1 to 6, and he was at the end of the scale. He was at the worst you could be.
Wow.
So it was really tough to see what he had to go through as a baby, especially the first 3 months of his life. He was casted every single day. Wow. So, and he could only wash when they took him off, and it was very tough, wasn't it, for us? Yeah. Very tough.
Yeah. So his feet, because the club foot, the feet bend in, and it means that he could not even walk.
No.
So did the doctor tell you how many times the feet would be in cast?
They said originally it should be 6 to 8. But Emmanuel ended up having 24.
Wow. During the time that the cast was put on him, in terms of his livelihood, in terms of caring for him at home, I believe it was also painful for you, Marilyn.
It was a very, very difficult situation.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't even change the nappy that you would on a normal baby. We had to literally clean film his cast, so no water or nothing could go inside. And if anything went in, you would have to take him back to the hospital to have it recasted. Wow. So it was a very difficult situation.
I know. I mean, and this can resonate with any parent out there. Because and I believe it's your first child. So when you have your first child, it's supposed to be full with joy, it's supposed to be full with passion, love, and suddenly this medical condition, he's born with it. And did the doctors really tell you, giving you some specifics that he can be healed?
At 20 weeks, it was just an utter shock because we're trying to figure out if it from either side of the family.
Yeah.
But there was no one from our side of the family that had this condition. And they thought that he might have Down syndrome as well. So we had to worry about the Down syndrome side of it as well as the club feet. Wow. But God being so merciful, we did test for Down syndrome and God just showed out and he didn't have it. And we kept on praying and we kept on hoping that when he was born, he wouldn't have the club feet. So the first thing my husband did when I delivered was to check his feet.
Yeah.
And I remember his heart sank because his feet were turned inwards.
Wow.
And sitting in that hospital room, I was just thinking like, oh my God, how am I going to cope with a child in this condition? And it's my first son.
Oh,
I was at a point of just desperation and anxiety, and it was it was a very difficult situation.
I can understand. Yeah, so Charlie, your wife explained exactly some of the things that were happening, the baby sleeping on her chest and all that. But as this is a kind of time to be happy as a father welcoming in, the newborn journey in the family. But what was it like, your wife going through all that, your son going through all that? How was it, getting to you, actually?
It was really tough because I was going to work thinking about it. So when I was going to work and I was knowing how she was having to deal with him and everything was different, it wasn't like having a normal baby. So everything was different. I was worried constantly, even for him to get older, if he was going to be able to play football and things like that.
Yeah.
If you could do stuff with him when he grows up. So you're constantly worrying and then you're supporting him at the same time. So it was just challenging a lot, especially with my wife had to deal with a lot, not being able to sleep properly, and she was always tired, and then we were tired, having to go to work, and then it was so difficult.
I can imagine. Now, finding yourself in that kind of, a situation is just very difficult. But at the same time, I believe the medical side of things, they were not giving you the hope that you needed. They were not giving you the solutions that you needed. So you started, I believe, to just see if you can look out there and find a solution. So I want us to also know, how did you really get to know about the highly esteemed Prophet Uebert Angel?
We was watching on YouTube, so we started watching in lockdown of 2020.
Wow.
And we continued to watch on YouTube and see the messages.
Yeah.
And when this happened with Emmanuel, the slipping of the casts, we thought we should go. But the first time, a couple of times it happened, we didn't because of the distance.
Yeah.
And it was putting us off driving. But then the second time, and our mother-in-law said, you have to go. And we knew within ourselves because we had to go. And we're at the stage where we just needed, we lost hope. So we needed to keep something. So we moved to the man of God. We saw him and we said, we have to go to see Prophet Angel.
Amen.
We have to go.
Amen. Charlie, really, I believe all these things were happening, within the family. And he said, also your mother-in-law somehow, motivated, encourages you to say, you have to go and see the miracle. You have a really, really good mother-in-law. It's something. But now you manage to go in the atmosphere where the man of God was ministering. And somehow you enter that atmosphere and definitely you will never be the same. So tell us, how was it like, because you say it was a distance, how long to drive to the church that you went to?
It's about 3 hours we travel.
3 hours from where you are to London?
Yeah.
Wow. So tell us, when you now enter into that atmosphere with the desperate situation in hand concerning your son, how was it like, the atmosphere, the anticipation? How was it like to you?
It was amazing because you can feel the energy, because you can just feel the energy in the place and how spiritual it is. And when you first see the prophet, it's just like, because we've been watching him on YouTube. So when you first see him, it's like, wow. And as he walked around, when we first saw him, he looked up towards Emmanuel and we're like, he knows, because he knows everything.
Amen. That's it.
We knew that he knew.
That's the better way of saying it. The prophet is an environment by himself. So when you enter that environment, you enter that atmosphere, something definitely is triggering in the realm of the spirit. And I believe I've been signaled to him. So Marilyn, tell us, how were you feeling when you now in the same environment with the man of God? How were you feeling?
I was so excited, and I knew that something was going to change in our lives,
and
in Emmanuel's life.
Yeah.
And I remember the night before, I said to my husband that we have to, whatever we can do to get Dad's attention, so we would call out. And I told him, grab the phone and make sure you run to Dad and chase him about. And then that's exactly what he did.
Wow. So Charlie, you were really literally chasing the prophet around.
Chasing him around.
In the service.
Yeah.
Wow. That shows that you were really, really determined to get the miracle for your son.
Yeah.
And what did he say to you?
What Dad did was he got a mantle and he gave us an instruction of 7 days.
Wow. So Charlie was telling us his encounter with the highly esteemed Prophet Uebert Angel in the atmosphere of healing, where the environment was saturated with the healing power that was really evident in the man of God. So we want to show you that encounter and we'll be right back. Welcome back again. This is the atmosphere for healing. Of course, you have listened to the testimony. So amazing, so life-changing. It's so mind-boggling that the family, after going through all this, and they met the man of God in the atmosphere for healing, and suddenly the man of God was able to give them the conduit of the anointing with specific instructions, and in fact put a demand on himself to say within 7 days. That is something that I can say is already miraculous. So tell us, how was it like when you received the conduit of the anointing, that mantle from the highly esteemed prophet himself? What really happened when you started to go home and follow the instructions?
That was better than anything you could get from any doctor, because we knew that would be the thing that would change it. So we knew just to follow them instructions and it would be done. So, yeah.
That's so, it's so important when you say it was better than any other doctor can give to you, because we have tried the medical, the doctors, the professionals, and most of the teachings that our prophets put out to us says that even Jesus, when he was healing, 93% of his healing was therapeutic. It means that there was a participation from the one receiving the healing. Like he said to the man, he said, take up your bed and walk. You know, you are told a man who couldn't walk to say, well, take up your bed. You have already healing off his bed, you know, been bedridden, but still he asked him to take off his bed. It means that there was a participation from those receiving the healing. So you participated in that you received the mantle, followed the instructions, and here you are. So tell us, baby Emmanuel, immediately within that 7 days or prior to the end of the 7th day, when this dramatic change happened, his legs, it tells us what was happening now physically.
When his casts were on, they would slip and come off, and this is the problem that we were having. So after Prophet prayed for him, it happened like 2 days into the next week. Wow. So they come off again, but this time we didn't panic because he'd been prayed for. He's got the mantle. Amen. So we continued to put the mantle on his feet. Amen. And he was off for 5 days, and normally his feet would go back, they would stiffen, but they didn't. They stayed flexible.
This time it was normal.
It was normal.
Because there was a prophetic intervention.
Yes.
Because you have already come and entered the atmosphere for healing.
When he had his cut, he wouldn't have been able to do this. So he can put pressure now on his feet. He can stand. He can bounce on them. He can put weight on it. It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I tell you something. You've been listening to the details, even prior to Marilyn giving birth to Emmanuel. Prior to that, this diagnosed from the pregnancy to the birth of the child, and see what all they went through. I believe that there's a family out there that may be going through a similar situation. It could be the same telophase, or it could be another ailment or another medical condition of their child. That when you encounter the man of God, when you are connected to the atmosphere and the environment of the man of God, the highly esteemed Prophet Uebert Angel, something dramatic changes for good. So I want you to really speak to anyone listening out there to understand what it is. Can you please?
Yeah, just never give up. No matter where you are in the country, you have access to a prophet like this, a powerful man of God like this. Wherever you are, you have to come and be a part of this healing, and what can happen is unbelievable. Like, we never thought we'd get out of this situation, never thought we'd get out of it, and he's done it for us. And it's just God is so real and alive. Amen. And people have to keep your faith and really believe and come. Wherever you are, you have to come and experience it.
Amen. And I just even want to go further to what you have said, Charlie, that there might be others who may be a different part of the globe. They might be in America, they could be in China, they could be somewhere in Brazil, somewhere in Timbuktu, in Africa. And they say, well, it becomes somehow difficult for them to find themselves coming to where the men of God is. But I tell you something. In the realm of the spirit, there is no barrier when it comes to distance. And we have seen again and again, even through Zoom, through the ministration, the healing ministration of our men of God, the highly esteemed Prophet Uebert Angel, we have seen people at the other side of the Zoom being prophesied to. They've been really spoken to by the word that comes from the prophet, and they receive their healing. So the only thing that is required is the connectivity with the man of God. When you are connected to him, something dramatic, something wonderful will happen in your life, and surely you will share similar testimony. There's a lot you have really put out there, what your family went through, and now you are so joyous. I can feel and see the joy on your faces, and that speaks volume. But I want you to equally look in that camera and say something to the man of God. Whatever you have to say to him, can you say something to the man of God?
I just want to say thank you, Dad, for what you've done for myself, my husband, and our son Emmanuel. You have changed our lives. You have changed his life. And the doctors would always tell us that our son had tricky feet, had difficult feet. But when we came to the solution ground, all that was in the past, and you spoke a word and just changed our life, and we came to the higher judge, which is you, Dana. Thank you so much.
Amen.
Yeah, I want to say thank you for healing, Emmanuel. Thank you so much for everything that you have done for our lives. Everything's changed. The way we think's changed. The way that we go about our life has changed, and we thank you so much for everything that you have done for us and that you continue to do for us. Thank you so much, Dad.
As you have heard, you have seen for yourself this miracle that happened to Emmanuel. And the parents testify that when they encounter the man of God, the entire scenario changes. The entire atmosphere changes at home. And with that conduit that they receive from the man of God, and they make sure that they listen to the instructions, something transpired. And this we all witness, and we are saying it, and the boy is walking as normal as it is. So I'd encourage you, wherever you are watching from, the most important thing is to make sure that you are connected to the man of God. They had it as Prophet Uebert Angel. So many platforms, the Good News World platform that we have, even major networks where the man of God is being aired. His programs are daily 24/7 coming up everywhere. So there's no excuse that you say, well, where I am, I cannot. You can. Because through your washing and through the spreading of that which you are washing, someone else can be healed. And this is why it's important. So I encourage you to do that. And thank you, because this program, The Atmosphere for Healing, we even have a website, www.atmosphereforhealing.com. And you can even access that and see and understand that this is real. This is real and this is authentic. God is still using continuously the frequency of miracles and signs and wonders. They are countless. And God continues to speak through our men of God. The healing power is potent, is alive. So I encourage you to make sure that you are connected to the men of God. And before I go, I just want to take this opportunity to also thank my men of God for giving us this platform so that we share that which God is doing through the healing ministration of everything that he's doing, because we know we have countless miracles taking place on a daily basis. Why? Because the people enter the atmosphere for healing. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for answering the call. We really, really appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
Receive your healing at the Healing Institute with Prophet Uebert Angel. Register for free at www.healinginstitute.org. God's Medicine, authored by Prophet Uebert Angel. In this book, learn how to receive divine healing and, equally important, how to keep it. Immerse yourself in this teaching by Prophet Angel, a man who has a very potent healing ministration that is seeing multitudes receive their healing from all manner of ailments around the world. Order your copy from www.uebertangel.org or from Amazon Kindle.